السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who have believed, fear Allah as you should be feared, and never die except in the state of Islam in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ba'd. Jazakumullah al-khair for coming tonight and for being quiet for the halaqa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all and reward your parents that they brought you here. Inshallah, tonight I'm going to start my halaqa with a story that is reported in Muwatta al-Imam Malik. Al-Imam Malik ibn Anas, he is the biggest scholar in Al-Madinah of fiqh. He's very famous. He is one of the 4 famous imams. He has a madhab. It's called the madhab al-Maliki. And he's also a scholar of hadith. He has a book, that book called Al-Muwatta. In this book, we have only authentic hadith. And he narrated a story about Abu Idris al-Khawalani, radiallahu anhu. Abu Idris al-Khawalani said, one time I entered the masjid of Damascus. And when I entered the masjid, I found a young man who had bright teeth. Bright teeth here, he is just referring to, he is always smiling. Whenever you look at him, he's just smiling. And then people are surrounding him. A group of people are surrounding him. And they ask him some questions, and whatever answer he gives, they apply it. If they have any disagreement amongst each other, they go to him and he solves the problem, and whatever he says, they act upon it, they act accordingly. Sit down. So they ask him some questions, and whatever he says, they act upon this. And he is young. So Abu Idris al-Khawalani radiallahu anhu said, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put his love in my heart, because he was just a young man and people are asking questions. Even the old people are older than him. Then I went to him to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put your love in my heart. Then he left before I talked to him. He said the next day I went to the masjid, I went to the prayer very early for Dhuhr prayer, and I found I found that guy, he went to the prayer before me. So he also went to the prayer very early. And then after I prayed the sunnah, I went to him from the front and I said, I love you for the sake of Allah. Did that guy, he said to him, do you really love me for the sake of Allah, not because of any other reason? He said, yes, just for the sake of Allah. Then he repeated the question and I said to him, it is only for Allah? He said, yes, it's only for Allah. Then that guy, that young man, he said to him, okay, so rejoice, I'm giving you glad tidings from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in a divine hadith, my love is due to those who love each other for my sake. Those who meet each other for my sake. Those who visit each other for my sake. And those who give in charity for my sake. Sit down, Ya Umar. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this Qudsi hadith, in this divine hadith, He mentioned 4 kinds of people that He loves. He loves those who meet each other for the sake of Allah, those who visit each other for the sake of Allah, and He gave in charity for the sake of Allah, and those who meet each other for the sake of Allah. Let's go through this story and see what we can learn from it. The first lesson that we can learn is that young man who was Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu, one of the famous Sahaba of Rasulullah. Mu'adh ibn Jabal was very young, just like you, or a little bit older than you. But the scholars used to call him Abu Bakr. The scholars used to call Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal Jabalul Ilm, the mountain of knowledge. and he was very young like you. So what I wanted to say today, if you want to serve your religion as a Muslim, you don't have to be old. You don't have to be an old man. You can be young just like yourself, and you serve your religion. When I go to the university and I see the brother, they may say, who are serving the whole Muslim students in the university, I'm really happy. I'm really amazed with them. I'm amazed by them. Subhanallah, that brother Amir, who is Abdul Fattah's brother, he's young. He's the third year in the university. And whenever we need something as a masjid, you know, the iOS, the main masjid in Regina, if we need something, we go ourselves and we approach Amir to ask him, please, we want to do this, we want to do that. And he's very young. He's still studying, just like you. He's a little bit older than you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put him in that position to serve the whole Muslim community in the university. And he has Islam Awareness Week. He can also teach non-Muslims about his religion. And he can cooperate with the main masjid in Regina to serve the whole Muslim community and the whole Regina. And he's young. So now you can ask yourself, you're sitting in front of me in the masjid, what have you done to serve your religion? What have you done to serve your community? To serve even your family, even to serve yourself, to survive, to provide yourself. To provide yourself. You don't have to be an old man. You can be just young and you serve your religion. If you're an imam, the imam doesn't have to be an old man. He can be a young man, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him the authority to lead the whole community. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. When somebody sits down here or stands up in the minbar to give a khutbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen him to be over there. So that's the first lesson that we can learn. Second lesson, he described Mu'adh ibn Jabal and said he had bright teeth. He was always smiling. So it's the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to be always smiling. It's a kind of da'wah. If you want to invite people for your religion, you don't have to go in the minbar and to say khutbah. You don't have to give a khutbah. You don't have to prepare khutbah. You just have to smile and to have good personality. You are a role model, you're a good example, so people will love your religion through your character, through your personality. The third lesson, that Abu Idris al-Khawalani, when he felt in his heart that he loves Mu'adh ibn Jabal, radiallahu anhu, he went himself and he told him that I love you for the sake of Allah. And it is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When you love somebody, when you love your brother, you go to him and you say, I love you for the sake of Allah. And when a sister loves a sister, she goes to her and says, I love you for the sake of Allah. And Nabi alayhi wasallam one time, in the hadith reported by Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik, he was sitting down with some Sahaba, like in this blessed gathering. He was giving a reminder. And a man passed by. So one of the Sahaba, just like you, he said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, I love that man for the sake of Allah. I just love him. So Nabi ﷺ asked him, أعلمته? Have you told him that you love him for the sake of Allah? Did he say to him, I love you? He said, no, I didn't tell him. The Rasulullah said to him, just go to him and tell him that you love him for the sake of Allah. He went to him and said, I love you for Allah's sake. That brother, he said, may Allah love you as you love me. And in the sunnah of Rasulullah, then the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَحَبَّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَخَاهُ فِي اللَّهِ فَلْيُعْلِمْهُ. If anybody amongst you loves his brother for the sake of Allah, so let him tell him. Go to him and tell him that you love him for the sake of Allah. But here, how can I know that I love somebody for the sake of Allah, or I love him just a false love, it's not a true love? Just somebody asking me that question yesterday, and my answer was like this. If, for example, you have a sister, because you're not married anyways, if you have a sister, and you love your sister, as I have a sister, I love her. She's 5 years younger than me. Whatever she needs, I try to fulfill it. Whatever questions she has, I try to do my best to look for the answer and to give her the proper answer for her situation. Yeah. My love to my sister, I don't care about her outer shape. How does she look like? I don't care about this. The only thing that I care about is her personality, what she has in her mind, what she is thinking about. The same thing, if you have a sister, and your sister became one day fat. She became fat. She became ugly. Are you going to still love your sister? Are you going to still love your sister? If your answer is yes, so this is a true love. But if it's not yes, it's no, so now you don't like your sister. You don't love her for the sake of Allah. It's a false love. The same thing, if you love your brother just because you have some business, or because you're in the same school, or because you study with each other, or you have the same grades in the school, so it's not a love for the sake of Allah, because if he is better than you in the school, you may envy him, you may hate him just because he's better than you, just because he's richer than you, right? So this is love for the sake of Allah. One time in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was sitting with the Sahaba, and a man came in and said, Ya Rasulullah, mata as-sa'a. He was asking about the hereafter, the last hour. Ya Rasulullah, when the last hour is coming? Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked him a question. He didn't give an answer. He said to him, ماذا أعددت لها? What have you prepared for the akhirah? What have you prepared? Like if I ask you now, as you're sitting in front of me now, if I ask you, what have you prepared for your akhirah? What have you prepared? Do you pray 5 times a day? Have you served your community by anything you can? Did you do anything good for your people here? Are you a good member in your community? Are you benefiting people? So the Prophet ﷺ didn't tell him about the last hour because nobody knows about it, about the time of the last hour. He just asked him a question, what have you prepared for the last hour? Then that man, he said, Ya Rasulullah, ma a'adatu lak kathira amal. I haven't done so much volunteer work. I don't volunteer in the school, in the university, in the masjid. I don't do too much work. But I just pray 5 times a day. I pray and I fast Ramadan. I do what is obligatory upon you to do. The Nabi Sallallahu said, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. Everybody will be resurrected in the day of Qiyamah with whomever he loves. Again, everybody will be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah with whomever he loves. I have to say it 3rd time because the Prophet ﷺ, when he wants to emphasize something, he said that 3 times. Everybody of you, including myself, and everybody here, and Brother Mahdi, will be resurrected and gathered in the Jannah or the hellfire with the people whom he used to love in this dunya. So if you used to love some singers, some soccer players, some basketballer, you just love these people, you only love them. Okay, so here you go. You will be resurrected with them. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that. He just said that. I'm not saying that myself. If you love some singers, if you love a girl, a haram love, you don't have any relation with her, and you love her, inshallah on the day of Qiyamah you will be resurrected with her in the Jannah or in the Nar. If it's an illicit relation, if it's a haram relation, so it will be in the hellfire. If it's a halal relation, she's your wife, she's your mother, your daughter, your sister, inshallah will be in the Jannah. Just apply this qa'idah, this base for yourself. On yourself. And the Prophet said that. Everybody will be resurrected with whomever he loves. Okay, let's go quickly to the rest of the story. Then Nabi ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in a divine Qudsi hadith, that I love those who visit each other for the sake of Allah. Do you remember the story of the man who traveled to another village? Yeah. To visit somebody just for the sake of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him an angel in the shape of a human being. And the angel asked him a question, where are you going? He said, I'm going to visit somebody for Allah's sake. He said to him, do you have some business? Have you done some favor for him? Have you done him some money and you're going to get your money back? He said, no, I'm just going to visit him because I love him for the sake of Allah. Like if I ask you now, why are you here? Are you here to eat pizza? Or are you here to play ping pong, to play tennis? Or are you here just to listen about Allah and His Messenger and to learn something that you can apply? You can teach something to friends, your family, and you apply it in your practical life? Just have you ask yourself. So that man said, I'm just going for Allah's sake. So the angel said to him, so I am the messenger of Allah. I'm giving you glad tidings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you as you love the brother for his sake. It's just for Allah's sake. Number 2, and Allah loves those who meet one another for Allah's sake. Also, the same thing. You're here in this masjid, just renew your intention now. If you want to be rewarded. If you want to be rewarded. Just renew your intention right now. Why are you sitting here with us, Brother Mahdi? Why I'm giving you this reminder? Why are you listening to me? Just ask yourself and renew your intention. Verify it now so you'll be rewarded. Otherwise, you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. So why are you here? So this will meet one another in the sake of Allah. The third quality, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and who loves those who give in charity for his sake. Who give in charity for his sake. If you're inviting somebody for dinner, for a cup of tea, a cup of coffee or anything, so you're gonna pay some money, why are you going to pay some money? Are you going to pay some money just, he also can pay some money for you back later on, to invite you for supper, or dinner later on as a kind of compensation. If you're looking for this, so you'll be rewarded in this dunya, khalas. You took your ajr. In the akhirah, don't ask Allah for anything else. That's what you looked for, and you just got it. The last thing, and they love one another for the sake of Allah, and because of that, I make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bear witness that I love everybody here for His sake. If you do not know this, that I love you for Allah's sake, I'm telling you now. I love you for Allah's sake. And the only thing I'm looking for is that you will be good Muslims, inshallah. Nothing else. While I'm sitting here with you, I can cancel this halaqa actually. I can cancel, that's fine. I put the schedule myself. I put the schedule, the family halaqa, youth halaqa, and new Muslims class, and Quran halaqa. I have put that myself. And I can cancel this, that's fine. If you give me a hard time, I can cancel that. I have this choice. No one can ask me, can oblige me to give you a halaqa. Nobody can do this. But I'm doing that because I see, inshallah, you will be good Muslims, inshallah ta'ala. And one day you can benefit your community, yourself first, your family, your community, and your ummah as a whole. Jazakumullah alf khair for listening to me. And inshallah, before we end up and we go to for the pizza, inshallah, do you have any questions that relates to our topic today? No.
If you killed someone because he was suffering and you loved him,
it's not allowed to kill somebody because he's suffering.
He's suffering and he's in pain.
Okay, because it's not our right. Okay. The question is, if somebody is very sick and is suffering, can I kill him just because he's suffering? Because I really love him. Actually, you see that it's love, but it's not allowed in our religion. Because taking life away of people, a life of a human being, it's not up to us. It's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even your own life, it's not up to you to take it away. If you kill yourself, you will be a disbeliever. You will be a kafir. The Prophet said that, alayhi salatu. Anybody who kills himself with a knife, for example, on the day of Qiyamah, he will be resurrected with this knife in his hand because he killed himself. He's not allowed to do this. We are not allowed to do this in Islam because Allah is the one who gives life and who takes life away, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He said, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Whoever saves one life, it is as if he has saved all the humanity, the entire humanity. And if you kill one life, it's as if you have killed all the humanity. Okay, in other question that relates to our topic today. Another question in your mind? طيب جزاكم الله ألف خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. إن شاء الله we'll make dua. Just say آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، صل عليه في الآخرين، وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا، اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا، اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا. اللهم علمنا ما جهلنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا يا ربنا علما. اللهم صل على محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين وفي كل وقت وحين، وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Could you please just turn it off?